We're going to be down the cast and some of the crew. First up, Debbie Ryan. Gubler, and then we're going to be down some of the crew. We're going to be down editor Ryan Brown. The two movie producers, Alison and Ritter. Our TP, Shannon. Our production designers, Ashley and Megan Clinton.
Great. Awesome. Thanks, guys. So I'm just going to open it up to any questions. Does anybody? Awesome.
Hi, I loved it so much.
Thank you. Great question. Great question.
This is a question for you. So I loved Sarah from the get-go, just this completely lovable character. What was it like to step into the role of someone who has so much ambiguity coming from within her and so much humanity? What was that whole process like?
Could you repeat the question?
And Jake Pickings here. That's my answer. What was it like? The question is, what was it like to step into the world of Sarah? Well, I mean, it was extraordinary. It was especially cool because I helped create her, co-writing the movie with Jeff, and a lot of her personal history comes from my own personal family history, growing up hearing stories about my grandmother's schizophrenia, and stories of my mother's experiences with that, and having a personal fear of the mental illness in my bloodline, and when that may show up any time, and how would I deal with that, and then bringing in a horse girl element. And I think, I'm glad that you think she's a really lovable character, because I think we always wanted her to be sweet and never coming from a place of anger. Obviously, she's very scared. She goes through a lot in the movie, but I mean, it was extraordinary to play her. It was really fun.
Yes, back there.
So when Sarah was in her dream sequences, or when she was naked in the shop, did that actually happen, or was it all in her mind?
What do you think? There's a little bit of everything going on, and I'm glad that you asked that question, because a big objective for us was to put the audience in Sarah's shoes, not knowing when certain things are real and not real. So I'm glad that you had that experience.
But you can tell us now.
I like to keep it to myself, Paul.
Any other questions? Yes, right here.
First of all, off topic, I just want to say Community is my favorite show ever. But also with the rest of the cast, Paul Reiser, Monica, and Debbie Ryan, how did they come on board?
Yeah, so we wrote this. We had a couple people in mind when we were writing it. So Molly was someone that I wrote it for. John Reynolds we wrote it for. Paul Reiser we wrote it for. And then other people we kind of just met, and we were either fans of them, or we were introduced to them, and we were blown away by their abilities, or what we thought they could bring to the part. So we got really lucky in this, because we pretty much got all the people we wanted, which is obviously amazing. And I'm like so proud of the cast and the crew and everyone that helped contribute to make this. So not just the cast, literally the crew was also a dream squad. So yeah.
Right over there, yeah.
I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about the love interest, because beginning with the film, it feels like your character is kind of on her own. She feels almost isolated. It feels like when that character comes in, someone kind of listens to her and kind of understands her. So I was wondering, I thought it was a very, very sweet relationship. It feels very true. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about the writing process and how that came into it.
Yeah, the question is about the writing process of adding the love interest and how that Sarah seems isolated prior to meeting him and that he's someone that listens to her. I actually think it was one of the first ideas, I came to Jeff saying we should make a sci-fi thriller about a woman who has a family history of mental illness and things start happening to her and she doesn't know if they're real or not. And in that same hike when we were talking about it, I feel like one of your first things were like, and she should meet a guy and take him on a date that goes awry. That starts out like he's just listening to her and things are going well, but then by the end of the date, she's divulged everything. But it's exactly like you said, Sarah is a very isolated character, and especially as she's going through these experiences, she doesn't have the resources around her to help her. And she's met with a lot of skepticism, and Darren is the sort of one character who listens to her. It's sort of like this beacon of light, this beacon of hope, where you think for a minute that things might be okay. And if the story were to go a slightly different way, Sarah could actually live a totally normal life. Like maybe if this other stuff wasn't going on.
This movie could just turn into a romantic comedy.
Yeah, they would have just gotten married and been a great couple. And then it went the other way.
Back there, yeah.
Alison, who's funnier, Paul Reiser or Mark Maron?
Paul Reiser. Gotta go where the heat is.
Helen Hunt again.
I'm sorry?
Is Paul going to work with Helen Hunt again?
There's another question right there, yeah.
So with a good friend who very recently went through a surprisingly similar episode, and went through this treatment, I'm curious, was this for you just an individual exploration or part of the mental health discussion? How will you bring it to bear in the current issues arising in mental health?
I think it's both. I mean, I think, this isn't ostensibly a mental health exploration, but it's incorporating elements that I think are generally dealt with such severe heaviness. And I think what we wanted to do is kind of bring a sort of naturalness to it. So obviously there's humor involved, and I think generally in movies that deal with this kind of subject matter, you tend to see it be more of a melodrama. And to me, I feel like you kind of lose some of the stakes in that. And I think by kind of giving you a sense of all the sort of experiences and all the emotions you kind of feel, we can really kind of empathize with her more and make it a little bit more human. And so to me, I think that's the ultimate goal, is to humanize this character as opposed to just sort of compartmentalizing it and watching it and sort of judging it and sort of throwing it away when you're done with it. So that's hopefully it kind of sticks with you and maybe creates some kind of change in the way you feel about this kind of stuff.
I can't go through
Right here?
Right here?
Hi. I was interested in what was the inspiration for bringing the horse element into the film?
There's several things with it. I mean, one thing I was definitely interested in sort of exploring the horse girl sort of, I guess, trope or meme or whatever, but sort of seeing what that person would be like if they had that and then it was taken away from them and their identity sort of ties to that and where does it go? And then I grew up with riding horses with my dad, and we went on this one trip one time to Ireland, and my first stepmom kind of had an episode, and so I think that stuff kind of resonated with me too, with making this.
Sure.
What was the decision to add the character that suffered the brain injury that Sarah was friends with and taking care of? What was that like?
I think as we were discovering Sarah as a character and kind of unfolding the facets of her life and where she is now, trauma played a big part in that. So she's had these two major traumas in her life, and going back to the horse element, for Sarah, that was basically the happiest time in her life, this sort of pre-trauma time, and that's what the horse represents to her. She she had friends, she had people around, so it's sort of like a nice flashback to kind of, that friend sort of represents this other time in her life when she had someone and felt seen and represented and
fulfilled.
And fulfilled. Yeah, and sort of the loss of that.
whole row is like killing it with questions.
We got one over here.
So Allison, I've been so impressed with your career over the last couple of years. You've really taken on a lot of projects where you've, been very risky projects, and I applaud you for taking them on. You directed an episode of Glow recently. What was the decision of not actually directing this?
Oh, I've never intended to direct this, so I'm sort of taking on these new things one step at a time. It was very fulfilling directing Glow, and then for a long time I've been wanting to write something, and I never thought I would direct that thing specifically per se, and so as I was kicking this idea around, I just thought Jeff would be a great partner, and from the get-go, it was always like, let's write this movie together, you'll direct it, I'll star in it. Why aren't you asking why Jeff didn't star in it?
Well, hey, honestly, you guys worked together before. What was it about Jeff that made him the right choice then?
Well, I think, that I really...
So awkward.
There are all the things that I like about Jeff and the things I don't like. I'll start with what I don't like. No, I think that I really trusted Jeff. We worked on Joshy together, and that was sort of a glimpse. But while working on The Little Hours, I think I probably felt how these guys felt, which was like, what the hell are we making? It was based on an outline. It was unlike anything I had heard before. It was so unique. I was really excited to be a part of it. But while we were doing it, I was kind of uncertain about how it would turn out, and I saw it, and it blew me away. I loved it so much. It was like exactly what I hoped it would be, but better. And from then on, I think I just really trusted him, and we're close friends. We spend a lot of time together, and I know that Jeff is not afraid to take risks, and he's not afraid of things that are a little out there. And as I was talking through this idea, I was like soft pitching it to my husband and some other people who were like, I don't know, like your hands. I'm not sure. And I was like, I think we'll do this. And Jeff was so wonderful. He's just been such a perfect partner, and it really is a true collaboration, 100%, the two of us sitting in Jeff's living room, a few days a week, just like, I don't know, plugging through it.
Awesome.
Is that cool?
Yes.
Watching this, I realized Jeff isn't just a filmmaker, he's like an alchemist, where he takes seemingly familiar elements and like expertly weaves them into magical experiences, unlike anything I've ever seen before. And I think he's a genius. That's all I got.
One more question back there, yeah.
When will the Purgatory series be coming out?
We'd like to take it out. That's our dream.
Perfect. Thank you guys for coming.